Welcome to Fearless Fridays, your day to reclaim your weekend and your life. This week's topic is divorce and the law of attraction. Now, many of you know, if you've been on the What's Up Wednesday calls in the Inner Circle, that I'm currently going through a divorce. And so this week, during our What's Up Wednesday call, we spoke about transitions of all kinds, not just divorce, but how, when we go through transitions, how it's really easy to lose sight of the end result. Now, most of us know what the end result is, or our goal in life. So if you're transitioning from one career to another career, you know what type of career that you want. If you're going through, say, a divorce, you know that the end result will be to have that final decree of divorce in hand and possibly moving into a new place and whatnot. So knowing the end result, knowing the end goal that you have, many times, and being in that transitional state. Last week we spoke about getting knocked down, that emotional guidance scale down to 22. And sometimes when we're going through those lower emotions and those lower energies, sometimes it's very easy to lose sight of how to get to that goal and how to get to that end result in one piece. So today we're going to talk about how to get there in one piece with clarity and peace of mind. Now, I live by the law of attraction. My life is a result of the law of attraction. And the steps that I feel are really key to working with the law of attraction is the first step is getting really clear in what it is that you really truly want. So figure out what you want. So if you want a new career, if you want a new relationship, if you want a divorce, if you want this, that, a new car, if you want a college education, if you want to find the perfect babysitter, okay, figure out what it is that you want in life and what it is that you want right now, and then figure out where you're at, okay? And then take baby steps. So many people write down or create a vision board for their end result, that goal, that main goal that they want. So in my case, right now, my husband and I are working through the divorce process, and we're going through it collaboratively with collaborative coaches and attorneys. So our goal during this whole divorce process is to do this collaboratively without fighting and without going to court. Okay, so one of our baby steps in this is creating that safe haven for each other to be able to speak our truth without blame or guilt and saying, well, this is what I want, this is what you want, and then working together, and then the end result will be to have that final divorce decree. Another thing that I'm doing is looking for a place to live. And so one of the things that I'm doing is saying, okay, the end result is a new home. So during this process, what I'm having to do is think about, well, what perfect things do I want in a home? 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, okay. And then these other little things that I really have in mind that I would like to have manifest. Now, many times in doing a major life transformation like this, or transition or reorganization, many people call it many different things, many times it's really easy to get overwhelmed because there's so many details that need to be worked out, and also because the emotional roller coaster that goes with a big transition like this in life. Now, last week I spoke about just honoring how you feel, and when these emotions come up, feel it and go with it. Yesterday I was brushing my teeth and I just felt like crying, so I stopped brushing my teeth and I cried for a little bit, and then when I was done I wiped my tears and I finished crying. But I honored that moment. And when you honor the moment and feel it for what it is, that helps you to move through, and that helps you to keep a clear picture in following through those baby steps to finish and see through to the end result. Now, many people say, well, for the law of attraction, all I have to do is just write it down and then it's going to happen, right? Yay! Well, if you have signed up on my website for my free gift, you know that you've heard my story about how I manifested a car and how I manifested a college education. Well, when I manifested that car, what I did was I wrote down I wanted to pay cash for a car, and I stuck it up on my wall. And I waited for 2 weeks and I didn't do anything. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. If I were to have the money for a car, what kind of a car would I want to get? So I started, that was a little baby step, I started to search online for the perfect car for me. And then once I found that perfect car, then the universe said, okay, here you go, and gave me the money so that I could pay cash for that car. And that's the same thing with any transition that you're going through, anything that you want to have manifest in your life. Be willing to take those baby steps. Okay? Because if you're not willing to take the baby steps, the universe is going to go, well, we're giving you all these little these hints and these nudges and these signs of saying, okay, walk this way, take a step forward this way, and take 2 steps this way, and then take another step this way. But if you're not willing to move from where you're at, then the universe can only do so much. You have to be willing to be attracted to that thing that you want to manifest. Now, another part of this process is being willing to ask for help. Be willing to utilize all the resources that you have. We live in a community. We live, you know that old saying, it takes a village to raise a child? It really does. We're all children. We all have that inner child, that inner emotional child. And when we think that we're going through this alone, because divorce can be messy and ugly. It can be very lonely. It can be very overwhelming. So can any transition, finding a new career, finding that car. You know, when you're sitting there in that car lot going, oh my gosh, which one do I pick? And you have these car salesmen all up in your face. Sometimes it's hard, you know. So enlist the help of those around you. Enlist the help of the community that you have, your resources, your friends and family. Okay? Allow yourself to, 1, make that goal. Say, okay, this is the goal. This is the goal that I want to set for myself. Boom, whatever it is. Okay? And then 2, trust that it's going to happen. Really trust that it's going to happen. Okay? 3, follow those breadcrumbs. Follow those little nudges that the universe gives you. All right. So think about when I manifested my car. I said, okay, universe, I want to pay cash for a car. And I waited for 2 weeks and nothing happened for 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden I found a breadcrumb. Wait a minute. If I'm going to manifest a car, I need to figure out which kind of a car I'm going to get if I'm going to manifest the money to get the car, right? So I started to look for a car and then I found one. Then the universe said, okay, boom, here you go. Here's the money. Here's your car. It's the same thing. You have to trust in the process, but follow those breadcrumbs. Be willing to be led by spirit and be willing to be led by the universe to where it is that you want to go. And then 4, the 4th step in this is be willing to ask for help. If you're being guided to do something, but you're not quite sure how to do it, ask for help. Talk to one of your friends. Okay? Ask for help. Ask those people in your community who are great at what they do, or who are great at being your friend. And sometimes it's just about opening up and sharing the journey that we're going through, sharing the struggles, sharing the joys and the triumphs, and then letting someone else come in and be witness to that. And that shift in and of itself will help you move closer to your goal. So I have a story that I'd like to share real quick. It's about the farmer and the butterfly. There's a farmer who has grapevines, and every day he inspects his grapevines. Well, one day he sees a chrysalis on one of the grapevines. So he was so excited. He's like, oh my gosh, I love butterflies. And so every day he passes by this grapevine to see the chrysalis. And he's so excited. And one day he sees that the chrysalis has popped open at the end. And he was watching the butterfly start to emerge. And he noticed that the butterfly was really, really struggling, trying to get out of the chrysalis. So he said, you know what, I'm going to help it out. So he pops the rest of the chrysalis open. Well, the butterfly slides down, lands on the ground, and its wings are so heavy with fluid that it ends up dying about 10 minutes later. So the farmer goes to his wife and says, you know that butterfly that I was waiting to emerge? And she says, yeah. He said, well, it died. And she said, well, how? And he said, well, I saw that it was coming out of the chrysalis, and so I helped it out because I saw that it was struggling. And then it died. And she said, well, you killed it. And he's like, how? I was trying to help it. And she said, it's part of the struggle. It has to go through that struggle, that tightness of the end of the chrysalis, because that's how its wings get wrung out from that fluid that it was a part of. And that fluid gets wrung out from its wings, and then it comes out to the end of the chrysalis, brings its wings up and starts to dry them further, and then it can fly, and then it can take off. So know that these transitions, when you get knocked down to the bottom of the scale, as we were talking about last week, that's like being in that liquefaction stage of that butterfly and, like the whole caterpillar chrysalis. Right now, you are in that primordial soup, per se, and you are rebuilding yourself, rebuilding your life. And sometimes it may be a struggle. Transitions, most of the time, usually are a struggle, but you always come out the other side ready to fly. You always come out the other side fearlessly inspired. You just have to get clear on what it is that you want, trust in the universe that it's going to happen, follow those nudges, follow spirit, follow those little inklings that you're like, maybe I should do this. That's that little breadcrumb trail that the universe leads to you. And also, be willing to ask for help. Be willing to utilize your community. We're all in this together. No one is meant to go it alone. I know you can do this. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Fearlessly Inspired episode. If you have, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, comment below, and better yet, subscribe. Until next week, bye-bye.